r/ProRevenge.
What happens when engineering students are asked to truck-proof a mailbox? Yes, I know there are a lot of mailbox stories on here, but I just learned this story from my dad involving my Uncle Dale, family friend who passed away a few months ago, and figured you guys would get a kick out of it. Years ago, back when Uncle Dale and Dad were university students, their engineering professor came to their class with a problem that needed solving. His mailbox was getting broken by someone driving by every night. He and his wife had put up something like 4 or 5 mailboxes, and all 4 or 5 times, the mailbox had been knocked over by someone driving a red truck. This professor offered extra credit to any group of students who could come up with a truck-proof mailbox that not only fit with city regulations but within a budget of $20, which back then was a good-sized chunk of change. Well, if anyone here knows anything about engineers, as Dad puts it, they love solving problems. And if it's engineering students, they'll make it an experience to remember. Dad and Uncle Dale got together and got to work. They found a steel bar that fit within mailbox regulations. Posts have to be a specific height, width and depth, and filled the inside with a mixture of concrete and steel rebars. Once the concrete had cured, they welded 8 rebars to the sides of the bar, bent them in half and stuck it inside a bucket. To add extra weight, they filled the bucket with the heaviest rocks they could find. As a finishing touch, they painted it brown and black, to look like wood, and put the ugliest mailbox we could find on sale on top, welding it down for good measure. They brought this monstrosity into class, Moore dragged it because it was so heavy, and told the professor to bury the bucket where the mailbox stood. Since they were the first to turn in their project, the professor agreed to give it a try. That night, the professor and his wife were awoken by a metallic bang, followed by a lot of cursing. They went outside and wouldn't you know it, there was that red truck speeding away, the mailbox still standing. At the base was a broken wooden baseball bat. 2 days later, the professor gets a bill in the mail for a hospital visit. Turns out when the passenger hit the mailbox, he did some serious damage to his arm and shoulder. They were planning on suing the professor, but the professor hired a lawyer who basically told the plaintiffs, "You're just going to admit that you were vandalizing the mailbox multiple times." That shut them up. To the best of my dad's knowledge, the mailbox is still standing. The other students who still brought in mailboxes had theirs gifted to different professors throughout the town and are also still standing.
A response to the post.
We solved this on my mailbox by putting a large spring at the base. You could bend the post down all the way to the ground and watch it flail around afterwards. It was more for people backing into it than vandalism, and it worked perfectly.
A response to this comment.
For accidental damage, that works way better than making the mailbox invincible, because you don't want to damage cars accidentally bumping the mailbox. You also don't want to hurt people who are exercising due care in their vandalism, just in case they aren't deterred by having to confess to multiple counts of mail tampering.
A response to the post.
Now this is the extra credit my ADHD engineering ass would go for.
Oh, peace response to this comment.
You'd have a lot of fun with this one, wouldn't you?
A response to the post.
As a mail carrier, I've heard a few stories, and have seen examples myself of mailbox ingenuity. One that stands out is an unusual and obviously very old box out in the country way back when while I was training. I asked the regular carrier about it, who told me that farmer on my route had trouble with one of his neighbor kids constantly bashing in his box. So, finally, he bought the largest mailbox he could find, and put a regular mailbox inside of it. He then proceeded to feed the empty space inside with concrete, so it looked like a normal large country mailbox, but when you opened the door, you just saw a small mailbox encased in the middle of a solid wall. As a final touch, he painted a big target on the side. The regular said that the neighbor kid tried to smash it just once. That thing outlived the farmer by years.
Oh, peace response to this comment.
Greater than as a final touch, he painted a big target on the side. All that's missing is Clint Eastwood saying, "Come get me, you dummies. Come on, I dare you."
A response to the post.
My husband is a mason in a beach town in Florida. He had created multiple decorative mailboxes that had block, concrete, and rebarb in the middle about a decade ago for a few homeowners whose homes he had done block and stucco work for on A1 ABC. People kept knocking their mailboxes down. Turned out it was drunk drivers. After a couple of totaled cars, ordinances against hubby's creations, and similar ones as it was catching, started going up.
A response to this comment.
Lol, sorry, this isn't to poke fun at you, Just to share my inner joke my brain was pulling on me. When you said, he had created multiple decorative mailboxes that had block, concrete, and rebarb. Rebarb got translated into rhubarb in my head and I had to triple take the sentence to read it correctly.
A response to the post.
I have a similar, accidental, revenge story from my childhood. For reasons unknown, someone started hitting my parents' garbage cans with their car every week to knock them over. This was before there were readily available security cameras, and it happened at random times between 1 and 4 a.m. They set up trying to see who it was several times, never caught them. Filed multiple police reports, nothing was ever done. I can't remember exactly for how long, but definitely over a month. Then one week, after building a new shed, there was a garbage can full of construction debris, remnants of 2x4s, some cinder blocks, even some leftover cement from building the support pillars. They really took anything you put in the can in the old days. You can probably see where this is going. Around 3 a.m., there was a horrendous crash. We ran outside to see what had happened. The car was nowhere to be seen. The garbage can was still standing upright. There was half of a bumper and pieces of smashed headlight all over the ground. They never came back to reclaim their bumper, and for some strange reason from that day forward the cans were unmolested. Edit. Wow, the paragraph order was all messed up. I have no idea what caused that. Restored.